John Stuart Mill, 1806 to 1873, was a British philosopher, political economist, civil servant, and member of Parliament. An influential classical liberal thinker of the 19th century, he contributed widely to social theory, and political economy. He has been called the most influential English-speaking philosopher of the 19th century. Mill was born in London, the eldest son of James Mill, a student of Jeremy Bentham. James Mill had a strict education plan for his son, teaching him Greek at the age of 3 and Latin at 8. By the time he reached adulthood, John Stuart Mill had read extensively in history, logic, mathematics, and economics, among other subjects. One of Mill's most significant works is Utilitarianism, in which he defended the ethical theory known by that name. The central principle of utilitarian ethics is that the best action is the one that maximizes utility, generally defined as that which produces the greatest well-being of the greatest number of people. This idea is considered a radical departure from traditional, more deontological approaches to ethics, which often focus on duties and rules. Mill's formulation of utilitarianism differs from Bentham's original formulation, as Mill emphasized the distinction between high and low pleasures, arguing that intellectual and moral pleasures are superior to more physical forms of pleasure. In On Liberty, Mill tackles issues related to individual freedom and society. He argued for the harm principle, that individuals should be free to act however they wish unless their actions harm others. It is in this work that Mill makes the famous statement that, over himself, over his own body and mind, the individual is sovereign. On Liberty is a foundational text for modern liberal democracies, laying out the case for free speech, freedom of thought, and the limits of state intervention. Another of Mill's influential works is The Subjection of Women, where he made a passionate case for women's equality. He argued that the subordination of women was a relic from the past, and was contrary to the principles of freedom and equality. He believed in equal rights for women, including suffrage, arguing that society and families would both be better off if women had the same rights as men. In his Principles of Political Economy, Mill explored the economic theory of his time, but unlike many other classical economists, he also devoted attention to social relations and inequality. He championed the cause of workers and was a strong advocate for cooperatives, enterprises owned and managed by those who worked in them. In his personal life, Mill suffered a severe mental crisis in his 20s, a period he later described in his autobiography as his mental crisis. He credited his recovery to the poetry of Wordsworth, which helped reconnect him with an emotional life that his father's rigorous education had suppressed. In his later life, Mill was active politically. He was a member of Parliament for one term, during which he was an advocate for women's rights and land reform. Mill's ideas on liberty, utility, women's rights, democracy, and the harm principle have a lasting legacy, and remain central topics in contemporary philosophy and political theory. His utilitarian ethics continue to be taught and debated, and his articulations on liberty laid much of the groundwork for modern conceptions of human and civil rights.